Sam Ekstrom, take it away.
All right, you touched on it in the open, but the Women's National Championship concluded Sunday night in Minneapolis, South Carolina, the victors. Men's Final Four tipped off in New Orleans on Saturday. Kansas rolls over Villanova, and then an instant classic between Duke and UNC. Which of the two tournaments has kept your attention more?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I'd say if I were to have the Final Four of Ron Johnson's entertainment patience, I guess you'll call it, entertainment length that I could sit there and listen and watch, I'm going to go with Duke and North Carolina's game 1. I'm then going to go to the National Championship Women's UConn, South Carolina. I'm going to go to UConn in their Final Four matchup. Then I'm going to go to the women's second Final Four, and then I'm going to put Kansas Villanova down at the bottom. I think it's an eclectic group of games. But Villanova, we know that when that kid tore his Achilles, that was going to be tough. Like, that was going to be tough on that team, and you saw that with Kansas. Kansas slashes, they run. When they touch the ball, it's go, 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 get up the court. It's kind of like Wendell Moore for Duke, same thing. He gets the ball, he gets up the court fast. Both the guards at Duke get the ball, get up the court fast, and that's where Villanova struggled. I think if Villanova had played any of these 3 teams that were left, they would have lost with the guy, with that group they had. When you don't have your other guard, it just can't get it done. Now with the girls, the women, Paige Beckers, that was the story, especially for a Minnesota guy that knew her at Hopkins. I knew her when she was in the 6th grade, even playing Little League because of her brother and his friends, Drake Dobbs, and those kids that played at Eden Prairie for youth basketball. That for me, that kept my attention. My daughter, she was excited to watch it. Watching Dawn Staley and just the amount of time you look at Dawn Staley and what they did as far as breaking down her outfit. Now, when a coach shows up in a $10,000, $7,000 designer suit, nobody says anything. It's a great suit, coach. I saw somebody tweet about her Louis Vuitton jacket and shoes that they were $5,000. And, that's just another way to show everybody how much money you have on TV. No, it's not. That's just her outfit. Like, the only reason is because there's a label. You can't see the Hugo Boss or whatever is in coach's blazer. I think that's the problem sometimes with male versus female sports is people find ways to nitpick on stuff they wouldn't the other. And it's both sides. Like, when the men cry for fouls and all this stuff, people, why don't they just shut up? But when, the women go to the ref and they say something, whatever, everybody's like, yeah, they're getting knocked around. Why are they letting her beat her up? What I've learned in this world is nobody's happy. Nobody's happy ever. They're always going to find a way. But my attention, I think that's where I rank it. Like, I don't think either really captivated me more than the other. I just think different games. But Duke definitely took the cake in that finish from North Carolina.
Final 7 seconds of the timer. Who wins tonight? Kansas, UNC.
UNC. I hope because of my bracket, but UNC.
All right. A lot of other crazy stuff going on in Minnesota sports as well. The Wild have won 9 of 10, crushed Washington yesterday in the nation's capital. The Wolves roll over Houston. They've got 3 games left, and they're still pursuing that number 6 seed with Denver just continuing to win as well. So which playoff push has your attention more? Is it the Wild or is it the Wolves?
Well, for those on the podcast, you might not know, but those watching on YouTube, I'm black. So, of course, it's basketball. No, I'm not going to stick with the stereotype. But no, for me, there's the thing about playoffs. I watch all the playoffs because people play harder, even in October for baseball. I feel like the intensity is up. I think the women's softball championships, even the men's baseball college championships, of course, bowl games, but not the, mayonnaise, whatever bowl games, because Wisconsin plays. I'm not watching that. But when you look at some of these bowl games, the Peach Bowl, Cotton, the intensity is up. When you look at Gophers versus Wisconsin, Alabama versus Auburn, I love those type of games, and that's what the playoffs get you. So I'm intrigued at both. But I'm more intrigued at basketball for the simple fact of, you look back when Anthony Edwards was drafted, everybody questioned should have been LaMelo Ball. Everybody talked about the Timberwolves being cursed. They'll never win anything. Until they apologize to KG. There was all these things until they apologize to KG, or until they, do this for KG or whatever, until they do this, they're too cheap, until Glenn Taylor leaves, which, maybe that one did work. You add A-Rod, you add Mark Lowry, and they're in the playoffs. But I think Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Russell, I think that's a formative big three. You look at the play-in tournament, not a huge fan of it. I do like it for the simple fact of it's going to be intense, a small, intense four-way tournament because guys are trying to make sure they're in the 7th seed and then they're in that 8th seed. But I think that's unfair to the team that finishes 8th because now you have to play not 1, but 2 games just to retain your 8th spot. And you might run into a team that all of a sudden gets healthy and hot. But I am more intrigued by the Timberwolves. Basketball to me is exciting. I love Anthony Edwards. I love Karl Anthony Towns. I like D'Angelo Russell. Now I don't love him, but I do think he adds to that when you look at when those big three are all rolling. Like against Houston, or you look at some of these highlights. It's a good team. I think people should give credit to Jimmy Butler. The Miami Heat are the number 1 seed right now. They are taking to his style of leadership, but I do think he helped Karl Anthony Towns come out of his shell to be that monster, to be that angry guy, to be the guy that's willing to be the villain. I think Karl Anthony Towns says he's the villain too much. Where you look at real villains like Dennis Rodman, he doesn't tell you he's a villain. He's just going to do villainous type stuff, rebounds, dirty work. That's where Karl Anthony Towns does get his work done. But, stop telling us you're the villain. Just be the villain. The Joker didn't have to say I'm the Joker and I'm bad. He just did what he did. But when you look at the Wild, I will say this, adding another person in that net, I think that's going to help them because we know a goalie is just like a pitcher. Whoever's having the best night, if you can stop them on 30 shots on goal, you win the game because it's scoreless, or you go to a shootout and then you still have to try to win it. But that's, I'm intrigued with both, but the Timberwolves have my attention.
I will say, I love this Timberwolves team. I think the Wild have a better chance to actually win the Stanley Cup. Next topic, on Friday, the Vikings signed guard Chris Reed, Mankato alum, 3rd interior lineman they've signed this offseason. Chris Reed, Jesse Davis, Austin Schlottman. So do you actually feel better about the Vikings guard conundrum than you did when the offseason started?
Well, so I don't want to, there's this thing about overreacting or underreacting, and that's the two. I don't want to overreact to some of the tweets I'm seeing about Jesse Davis because when players leave, people always hate them. If they do something when they're there, people hate them. Like people blamed him for Tua and some of his injury stuff and his lack of pocket protection. But I also don't want to overreact to that because was that a scheme issue? Was that a coaching issue? We know the Dolphins' offense was anemic at times, and just you look at those weapons. People joked about Tua not having a strong arm, not being able to throw it 65 yards with somebody coming down in his face. Where Justin Herbert can get that done. I mean, we've seen that video of him almost getting blown up and still delivering an absolute strike down the field to Mike Williams. So I don't want to overreact to that. I also don't want to overreact to the fact that they're adding guards. I don't want to underreact. I think it's a key piece. I think what we're getting, I am excited to see this battle. I think Jesse Davis steps into the starting role right away in training camp because somebody has to be one. You look at Ezra Cleveland. I think, figuring out where he, fits best. This is my thing about Jesse Davis. If he can stand there and hold a guy up for 3 seconds and not be put on skates, then I'm fine. Because we've seen too many guards come in and go and they get put on skates and Kirk Cousins has a guy in his lap. I'm interested to see what Kevin O'Connell does to even help that. Like, do you go more Matthew Stafford in the gun? Kirk Cousins spent a lot of time under center. We know maybe he should be in the gun. Maybe that's a better way to not have to, sit there and have to always drop. We know you have to get under center every once in a while to run the ball, but the Rams ran the ball from the shotgun. You can run the outside zone from the shotgun. You look at the 49ers, same deal. You can run the outside zone from different looks. So that's going to be the key is where do these guards fit? What are they asking them to do? Are we going to see screen game? Rams didn't have a ton of it. They were more, their screens were more horizontal shallow routes with the receivers. We saw it like the one OBJ got hurt on, double shallows. Like that's kind of the thing that like where it's like the quarterback can just back up 5 steps. As those shallows clear, you're picking the best option of the two crossing. One sits, one keeps going, both go. They can wiggle and go back. I mean, there's a ton of things that we saw the Rams do with over the top stuff. I'm happy they added guards because at least they're looking at what they need to add, and we're not going into the draft needing to draft 4 offensive guards in the NFL draft. But I'm not going to get overly excited about it because guards, you never really know. Like the best guards are the ones you don't hear from until they make a big play. Other than that, like Quentin Nelson, if it wasn't for being mic'd up in some of the big crushing hits, we wouldn't know Quentin Nelson. So I can't get excited about a guard. I just hope that they come in and do what they're supposed to do.
Probably upgraded over Oliudo, who had 16 penalties last year. All right, no
Yeah,
clock on
I'd
this
say
one.
that.
I just want your knee-jerk reaction. Tiger Woods tweets, he is a game-time decision. There's the tweet right there. Game-time decision to play in the Masters. Real quickly, what is realistic to expect from Tiger?
I think he's gonna. I mean, I think it is what it is. Game time decision. I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like. I mean, I've been on the sideline as a player. I've been there as a coach, and I've been there as an analyst. And I've watched players warm up. I was a sideline analyst for the Gopher Indiana football game, and I watched some of those players come out and warm up, and see if they could go. And then they're working with the trainers. I've personally done that after surgery. I had surgery on my knee. I tore my meniscus. I had to have surgery. After about 6 to 7 weeks, came back. Every game, I was out there working out, warming up, trying to see if I can go. And then I would give my thumbs up or thumbs down. Like can I go? Can I not go? Sometimes I would push myself past where I had to go, but I was young. I was under 25. Tiger Woods is a millionaire, darn near billionaire. So is he going to risk his health if he doesn't feel 100%? No. So I think what we should expect is Tiger Woods to go out there, hit some balls on the range, maybe play a easy practice round, get out there and hit some shots, go through his pregame warm-ups and round warm-ups and do all this stuff. Come Thursday, if he's not feeling it, he's not going to go. But the thing about golf is you're not running. So you're not getting hit. You're not having to cut and go back and forth. So it's a less brutal on your body. So I think we're going to get out of Tiger Woods what he wants us to get. I think also he's just teasing us to show sponsors I still have a hold on this game. Like I am still a big deal. Don't forget about me, because a lot of people forgot about Tiger. It's like Dr. Dre says, don't forget about Dre. You can't forget about Tiger. Tiger Woods is still the biggest name in golf, regardless of if he hasn't won in a while. But I think that's another piece of it. He's showing these sponsors, hey, let's still do some business. I'm still out here. When I tweet, people listen. When I show up to a Masters, people want to see me. The crowds are going to follow me. Watch the biggest crowd. If he does do it, the crowd's going to follow Tiger, even in the earlies. So I think he's doing exactly what they want him to do too, which is let's keep the buzz going for Augusta.
Ratings are going to be astronomical. I think it's an accomplishment if he makes the cut and plays on the weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.